was like beginning a fairy tale once upon a...
Welcome back, I'm Phil Taggart. We're in Venice, California at Beyond Baroque, which is ground zero for Southern California poetry.
Oh, best beloved, they're true. Those stories come down to us from way then. In the age of money, the money vanished. Overnight it did, as though vacuumed through a tunnel into deep space. No one had it, the money. It didn't stew in a bank or go forth.
We're with LA poet Suzanne Lummis at the center of literary life in Southern California, Beyond Baroque.
It's the mainstay. It's the only one really that has been here since I arrived. I first got here in 1979. Beyond Baroque was here, and it was understood when I got here that this was the place to go, and this was the gathering spot.
Suzanne is a uniquely California voice.
I strongly and vigorously identify myself as a poet of the American West. Saint Teresa of the freeways, streets, this avenue, buses float down with their cargoes of light. And though some of these men I have seen, now they seem more than they were. They burn with something. One of the possible definitions for the American West is that it's a state of mind. Now, it's not only a state of mind, there's other things too that can be said about it. It has its own unique history and cultures and so on. But if you think about it as a state of mind, that makes sense. You could be in some ways of the American West if it speaks to you emotionally, if it speaks to your imagination, and be living in Poland.
The Western voice is also strongly connected to its raw beauty.
They really draw from that landscape because it's that raw, fierce, barren, awesome in the old sense of the word before that word got ruined, by a bunch of teenagers from the valley.
Philip Levine and the Fresno School helped birth the contemporary California voice.
I think he's one of the most powerful voices of the West, who was from Detroit originally, and now he's back in New York. But regardless of whether he's in New York, he left his stamp out here on so many poets who then went on to become teachers and passed a legacy on to their students. And of course, we're talking about California State University, Fresno, where Phil taught for so many years, along with two other really good people who I also want to slip in because they're also such fine teachers, Chuck Hanselcheck, Charles Hanselcheck, Peter Everwine. And there was a commonality between them. There was a no-nonsense approach to poetry. I think that's where I got my idea that a poet is first and foremost a writer.
Women without men, they stalk the lonely streets at night. Professional women, brain surgeons.
Suzanne was a part of the groundbreaking poetry performance group Nearly Fatal Women, along with Linda Albertano and Laurel Ann Bogan.
Scores of tormented men contemplate suicide
for sheer want of a quiet woman, pliant as a hammock, waiting to be fallen into.
You'd think those women without men would wise up.
And I like that name because it's ambiguous. What does it mean exactly? Nearly fatal women. What does fatal mean in this context? I mean, we know what it means if we think about femme fatales. It has a specific context. But if it's nearly fatal, is that good? Is that bad? Would you rather be totally fatal?
Suzanne has her own uniquely Western voice.
It's urban. Because it's very much set in the city, and I'm interested in landscape, and I have a fascination with the big city.
Suzanne is known for her LA traditionally noir look at words.
Oh, best, it went gone. It went ain't. It went as if it had not been ever, as if our... This is the beginning of the movie. The crime doesn't take place at the beginning of the movie. It takes place down the line. It's two characters who meet each other. And one of them is a kind of truck stop waitress who just wants to hit the road and doesn't care which direction she's going in. And the other is the fry cook who's got, you know, a brother or is in Kansas City or something like that, but he needs a woman to sit next to him and hold his cat while he drives. And she says, I like animals. Ancient of all realms, imagine the era of wands. We waved them, and lo, it appeared whatever we longed for. And we never went hungry, yet somehow we always felt hunger, for there was always more where that came from, and always we wanted more. Okay.